What's up, Jacksonville? I'm Chip Davis, and welcome to another episode of 904 Unfiltered here in Jacksonville. And I've got one of my good friends and co-host, Bob Morris, with us. What's up, Bob?
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday it is. We're just sitting here before we went live. Hopefully we're looking good, Andrew. Everything going? Cool. We were sitting here, Bob and I were kind of reminiscing about last week. What is it, a couple weekends ago when we fished the Florida Lure Anglers together?
Yep.
And I did get to go fishing today, and I had a really good day. And I was telling Bob about what I caught him on, which is a lot of guys, it's kind of like a confidence bait, like we've talked about,
Right.
If you're not confident in it, you've seen it, Bob. You saw it work. Of course, I saw what you were throwing, so I would like gain confidence in what you were throwing for the Reds. But I did catch trout and Reds on this today. It's the mirrored. It's a Paul Brown slow diver. It's definitely not Eddie Kabler's favorite color. He's more of an all natural guy because you like those bright ones, but I tend to have good luck with chartreuse.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you think about that chartreuse, Bob. What do you think?
It ain't no use if it ain't chartreuse.
I like that. It ain't no use if it ain't chartreuse. So anyhow, we did have a good day. I went fishing with my friend Mike Conley, and we fished out of his 24-foot Hell's Bay boat. Big boat, but he does a lot of tarpon fishing. He likes to fish the beach and does a lot of tarpon fishing. Just a really stand-up guy, Bob. But he got a really taste of that 52M today.
Well, that's nice. You gotta educate people when you can.
We're talking, we're gonna bring back the old school stuff, and it doesn't get much more old school than 52.
Well,
as we talked about last time.
This bait right here, number one, has won me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's it's so funny. Raymond McCauley texted me because we got to have Raymond on with us too,
Sure.
and I kind of misquoted a few things. So I told Raymond, I said, "Do you want to talk to me about it on air, or do you want to talk to me outside of it?" He started laughing. But this bait right here won them some fish. It's won me some money, but it's kind of like a lot of people don't like it. And one of the persons that never really liked it was Jeff Dry, which was always, but he always says, has no action. It really doesn't have action. It has a nice cut through the water, but why they like it, I think it mimics the mullet, number one, the fingerling mullet. And red and white, I guess that's kind of a universal color throughout the world. Red and white works well.
Yeah.
And it's just caught a shitload of fish. And Mike Conley caught, we didn't measure the redfish. It was probably 31 inches, 31 inch red, and absolutely just clobbered it. But the water temperature today was 61 degrees, which is, that's surface temp, but that's still, you could feel that. Remember we were fishing the other day, Bob, I said, look, we were cold, but the fish were still warm.
Right.
It's opposite today. We were cold and the fish were cold.
Well, and I was cold too because I took a dive off the poling platform. I fished in the Redfish Royale, which is a fly rod tournament. Pretty cool deal. It benefits human trafficking. Hasida's Hope, I think is how you pronounce it. But it was a fish out of Hell's Bay as well, so we had a good Hell's Bay day, me and you both. And
yeah, it's out in front of my house.
Yeah, Jamie is, so the rules for the tournament are, no trolling motors. You got to fish a poled boat, and it's a photo release tournament. So we pulled in and finally found some fish, and I'm going to pole all day because Jamie's a fly rod guy and I am not. I can do it a little bit, but he's good at it. So we fished it last year, and we caught a couple fish. Well, we pull up, and there's a school, and the fish were happy, and he nailed one, and I'm like, okay, let's have to get down off the platform, take the picture, upload it to the app that they use, which is really cool. It's kind of live action results. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of hot, so I took off my cold weather gear that we had run up in, and which is fortunate because we went a little further down the bank and saw another couple of schools, and we're like, well, let's run around and we'll make this drift again. And I went to get down off the platform, and I'm almost 60, not quite as old as you, but my on cloud shoes, which have kind of a radical bottom, got stuck on the edge of the platform, and the next thing I know, I'm just falling 6 feet
Straight in the water.
Well, no, actually, I bounced off the lower unit. Fortunately, not.
Which is worse.
Yeah.
I think when you told me you hit the lower unit, I was
Yeah,
like, well, that ain't good,
yeah.
Bob. I mean, I'd rather hit water than hit metal.
Well, the funny thing is back when I was training martial arts, we had a whole segment where we learned how to fall. So I somehow muscle memoried myself into falling on my back. So I'm good, but I'm soaking wet. So next thing you know, I'm stripped down, and we've got no spare clothes.
Can we show the picture?
We can't show the picture. You don't want to see that.
Bob showed me the picture. It was great, but did the water take your breath away?
It's a little bit cold, what I'm saying. So luckily I put my bibs back on. I was like a hillbilly with my bibs and no shirt for the rest of the day. But we saw a good amount.
Did you get any?
Oh yeah, we caught 3 nice ones, a 27.5, a 24.5, 23.
Is that a 30-day tournament or something?
Well, you pick your day, kind of like the Paul's tournaments
Right.
offshore. You kind of declare your day and go. So this was our opportunity. Always fun. I really like.
How many days do you get to choose?
1 day.
Okay, gotcha.
So some guys crushed it.
Right.
We were looking amateurish.
Oh, a lot of guys in it. How many boats do you think were in it?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't know for sure, but you can catch as many fish as you can.
Gotcha.
And it's a total. So the guys that are winning have like 400 inches.
Oh, gotcha.
That's a pretty.
So they must have grinded all day. You didn't do it all day, did you?
Well, we went out about 7:30 and got off the water at 4.
Oh, so you were out there this morning at the low tide, so you saw the schools. I never saw so many reds, Bob. You know me, I'm not a big red fisherman, but the schools that we saw today were like, and the bait in the intercoastal right now was just ungodly. I don't know. I think they're pogies.
Yeah.
But there's tons and tons of bait. But since we're doing a little fishing report, I want to talk about, because, in case we have some offshore guys, real quick, give a shout out. The wahoo bite went off today, too. But
really?
It was one of those days everything was going to bite, dude. I guarantee you the bass bit well, the black bass. So Archie with Strike Zone went out, and they were live baiting, which I'm not a big proponent of high-speed trolling.
Right.
It's not my thing. But so everybody's going to the live bait, and he said that first 15 minutes they had two. One was about 70 pounds.
Nice.
Just exploded. So the bite was this morning. You could feel the barometer. Yeah. I told Mike, the guy I was fishing with today, and I said the barometer was rising, so the fish pressure was good. And then as the day went on and the wind switched more northeast, then the barometer dropped a little bit, and you could just feel like the bite just disappeared.
Yeah, it was weird.
Did you feel that when it did that?
No, I just know I'd gone pre-fishing last week to try to find some fish, and didn't see even nearly the numbers we saw today. So I think the cold snap. We talked about this when you and I fished. I'm like, at this time of year, I love the cold snaps because I think it just triggers the fish.
Well, one thing that I've always said, and Bob, you'll agree with me 100%. It's always 2 days post front. Yeah. So the front, what's today? Today's Thursday. So the front came through Monday night, right? Yep. Because it got cold. So it blew through Monday. It means it was cold. So the front pushed through. The front followed it on Tuesday. I worked Wednesday. I fished Thursday.
Right.
It's usually 48 hours to 72 hours. I tell these new guys that are getting into it, the weather plays a big deal. What's going on the moon, the weather. Don't ever go to the day of the front, or maybe the pre-front.
Pre-front's good.
Pre-front is good, but don't. I know some people just have to go. They don't care if it's blowing, they're going. But your chances of getting a bite like we had today are not as good if you go the day when it was blowing 20 out of the north.
Bro, if it would have been me and you with conventional tackle,
it'd been all over.
We would. I know for sure we could have had 5 opportunities for double headers.
Yeah.
It would have probably been 30, 40 fish day.
Yeah. Easily. And I couldn't get the reds out of my trout hole.
Yeah.
I was not red fishing today. Everything that usually when I catch redfish right now, it's usually because they're in my trout hole.
Right.
And the reds, and right with the spot where I went, I was like, we had 3. I had like a 27, a 25, and then another one, a third one I hooked up while I was trying to get the net for Mike because he had the trout, and I hooked up, and when he came off, I was happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want another red because we beat Jacob and Karen today. We did a 4-fish ag.
Oh, nice.
And we had 8.25 and they had 6.91.
Very good.
Yeah, and it was fun. And I told Mike that, and I was like, we are all competitors inside.
Yeah.
And it kind of drove our competitive spirit today. So I was like, let's get all 4. And I always said, let's get all 4.
Yep.
And I was referring back to Bob when we fished the Florida Lure Anglers. Bob was like, it doesn't matter, Chip. We just want to get our all 4. We want our 2 reds at the time and 2 trout. So we got all 4. We did have 1 die, but I was performed a little surgery. But I ate. I'm going to eat them because I don't mind eating. And it was like 16 inches. So we only had 3, and I said we got to get 1 more. And you know where we got them? The dot.
Very good.
Got him on the Strike King.
Oh, very good.
Drilled it, Bob.
Yeah.
I swore it was way bigger than it was. It's maybe a little under 20, but it fought like a 24. I guess it's the one.
Yeah.
And then I did break off on a big redfish at one of my spots. I'm not going to tell people, but it's just a good spot. And I was grinding that Strike King, working it. And before I pulled the rod out of the rod holder, I noticed I had like a line going up my braid where it just looked frayed. And when this fish hit, Bob, it was a big redfish because it was right after that Mike caught that 31-inch red. So the redfish people are super active right now. You're going to get a lot of oversized. You're going to get a lot of 27s. And then when it hit, it was like 2 trains like that and broke.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. And I knew right where it broke, and I reeled it in real quick. I said, dadgummit. Because, that lure right there had put some on. I showed you that one I threw when we fished the FLA. So, anyhow, all right. Well, fishing report's over, guys. If you guys are listening live, Andrew, are they able to comment while we're going? Yeah, you guys comment in the section below. Subscribe because we had almost 500 viewers, Bob, and we only got 70 like almost, how many subscribers do we have now, Andrew? Does it show? Well, we have, when last time I looked, we were like 80 subscribers, and we get 500 views. People need to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it doesn't take but a second to hit the button, and Andrew's gonna learn how to do it where it hits the button, so we'll look like the little button guys. But anyhow, we're gonna wind up this fishing report, which was brought to you by Miggy's. Hey, I love my sunglasses. You know, I put the new ones right here. Test, which I showed you, Bob, are really nice.
Yeah,
I think they're like $65, and they're
nice.
quality glasses. And you'll meet Chris when he comes down. When we talk about the Triple Challenge, I'm still on the fence about, but I'm probably going to do. Yeah. They'll come down and have a booth. So anyhow, big shout out to Chris and the guys up there in Roanoke, Virginia. So we're gonna get on script now, and I'm gonna let Bob continue on and talk about the history of inshore fishing. Oh, before we go, can we congratulate Chris Cincy?
Oh yeah, the Slayer went out there and represented Duval.
Yeah,
on the national stage.
Said the F-bomb a few times. But he's intense, man. He did a good job. I mean, did you see the third day when they fished, Bob?
Well, that's what you look at, and he'll admit it to you just as much as anybody else. When you do a 2 or 3 day tournament, it eliminates you know, a lot of the luck factor. But I was really pulling for him. But
I was pulling for him big time. I love Chris. He's a freaking baller, dude. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time. And you know one thing, and we'll get off of that real quick because we love Chris. Maybe we can get him in on the show. You think he'd come in?
I don't know if the two of you would have any dead.
Well, we would. I'd be hard. And you know,
that's two talkers right there.
Well, Chris, I love Chris and all that. But what I did enjoy about watching that, Bob, is that they didn't have any towers or nothing like that. It was conventional, kind of like we're looking at right there. And then I'll get off of that. Some people was like, you know, but my thing is I enjoyed watching. I watched all 3 days. I was at work.
Sure.
So I watched every bit of it live on their app, and I enjoyed every single bit of it because those guys were fishing straight off their boats. We didn't even have. I guess the 3-foot platform I'm okay with. I don't know, but I'm not okay with the guys getting up on the towers and all that shit, dude. I'm sorry. It's just not. I mean, they have tournaments that just don't allow them, right?
I think it's heading that direction.
Do you agree or disagree? What's your input?
I think it's and I might take some heat for this. I think it's kind of weak man's tool.
I'm going to sit here and say it's not. I mean, it's not being weak. It's just like you can do it without them, man. I mean, just read the water, read the fish. You don't have to be on top looking at them.
Maybe not a weak man. To me, I don't have an issue with somebody wanting to be high and sight fish. To me, I've got the problem with people coming up here and burning.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what Walt said too. Is like, and a lot of people pre-fish with their towels and stuff if they can't do it. So they'll just pre-fish with them, but then they can't do it.
But to me, the weak man's thing is like if somebody, because we've learned to fish Jacksonville our whole lives, and when the tower, it's just comes down to one person got them, and then the next thing you know, these pro tours are coming in town, and 5 or 6 of them, and you just see them running around like a bunch of hornets.
Yeah,
and
it was just refreshing watching this one this week.
Well, they move you. The problem that happens, Chip, is I've seen this happen. Is they move the fish that you've patterned because they're running all over them, and they push the fish off their normal spots. So that's my biggest complaint.
Burning the flats, is that what they call it?
Burning the flats.
Gotcha.
So that's and there's a lot of people talking down about it right now, and I think the thing is the argument they may have is, well, I'm going from point A to point B, and so if I see some fish, but everybody knows what burning flats are,
Well, but it was refreshing to watch it because that's kind of what I grew up with. So it's kind of like, it's like they went back to where we were in red fishing because, it was forever before anybody it would just sit on their coolers kind of. But before you started seeing all these, all these fabricated super badass platforms, which I'm okay with. I didn't fish on the one that was on the boat today because I didn't want to fall off of it.
Right, yeah.
So anyhow, all right. Well, that's enough of that. And congratulations, Chris Cincy, Slayer Inc.
Yeah.
If you don't know Chris, you get to meet him. He's a great guy. We might be able to get him in on the show.
And what you got to think, the big thing about that, just to come back and we'll close it out, is he went to Texas.
Yeah, he went to Texas, dude.
No, the guy, ain't like he's in Mill Cove.
No,
dude.
the guy, like I said, Chris is a lot to handle, but he's also very passionate at what he does, and it's the second year in a row he's got to fish this Redfish Cup Championship. And you know what? He was in second place going to the final day, man, and he's from Jacksonville, Florida, so I got to give it up to the guy.
Yeah, he's earned it all.
He's earned it. Nobody's giving him nothing, and he's got his own lure company. So on top of that, Chris, if you're listening, which I don't know if you ever will, but I would love for you to listen. We'd love to have you on the show. Comment on below if you want to see Chris on our show.
Yeah.
And then Bob, take it away, bro. Let me let you get you started on some inshore stuff.
Well, I'm gonna look at the magazines that you thankfully have, and last time we kind of bounced around. We talked about, everything kind of springing from Grady Warren's Triple Challenge. And we had, the Scott Aston, the IFT tour that you guys did really well in. And then we started with the IFA Redfish tour. So this was the first magazine, comes out in 2001. But the good news is it's got the 2000 results in it. So everything started in 2000 here in Jacksonville, like we said last time. Jimmy Rumika won. But now we got some results we can talk about.
So that was the first one where Mika won it, and it was out of Sisters Creek, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha.
There's Mike Phillips and Chip Davis in the picture.
Yeah, that's an old one. Yeah. We stumbled through that one. That was a 3-day tournament too. We won a 3-day tournament. So,
and
what do you got?
Yeah, and then we go to the Tampa for the number 2 tournament. So this is going to travel the whole state, which is kind of something we hadn't seen before. There hadn't been an inshore series. So Grady's kind of, styling after bass tournaments, but with an inshore flair. And here, there's Pat Stinson, Pat's son Rick.
We talked about Pat today. We talked about Pat with Mike. I told him the whole story, but go ahead. Pat was a great fisherman.
So Pat's in 4th.
Was he fishing with Greg with the mirror lure?
Guy named Jerry Williams. No.
Okay, he wasn't with Eric. Yeah. Usually he fished with Eric sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So we're traveling, and I always said when we get into this is that the Jacksonville boys kind of had an advantage because of the triple challenges and we had some experience at tournaments where some of these other places may not have had them. Then we went down Port Charlotte.
That was a fun place. Snook.
Brian and Greg Watson second. You've heard of them. They're the kings of red fishing. Yeah.
Anybody from Jacksonville?
Jimmy Romika there in 9th place. So there again, he's 1-1 and he's got a 9th. He's probably doing pretty good in the points. And then we came back to St. Augustine. There's a
John Bodko and Lonnie Pitts.
Yeah.
Roger Bump and Herb Payne Jr. got second.
They got 3rd. No, second was Raymond.
Raymond McCauley. There
Steve
you go. Captain Ray. Steve Lavasek.
Yeah. Listen to these weights.
Go ahead.
15-11 on 2 fish for the win. 14-41 for Raymond. 13-71 for Roger. That was before they had the pinch tail, so it was
spread it out.
Spread it out.
You're laying your hand out. You just spread the tail. You don't pinch it.
Yep. But that's
Can I comment on that?
You can.
Did I tell you what happened with us real quick? I'll go quick.
Okay.
That was the one Mike Phillips and I should have got 3rd place, and we had a brand new Ranger 169 came in, and we ran out of gas. we had almost 14 pounds in the boat, and we were running, and that Grady would not let you refuel at that.
Right,
it was against the rules to refuel, and we ran out north of the Volano Beach, and guess who towed us in?
Who's that?
Larry Minyard.
How about that?
And in his backyard, he zeroed in his backyard.
That's crazy.
So, all right. So what you got next?
And then we go over to Sarasota, and you see John Henninger in 9th place. This is the year 2000. Now, John,
he's been grinding for it. Yeah, he's seen him at the FLA meetings.
Oh,
he's
a player.
He's a big player.
We'll get when we get into the mid 2000s. He was a Team Ranger guy, and he had some wins with John Eggers, and they were powerhouse. And then there again, we spoke last time is like, okay, there's guys who do good locally, but I always like, well, can you travel and get it done? And those guys went and they won on the road.
We'll have to get a list, Bob. What we'll do at the end is we'll give a list of people out of Jacksonville that's won on the road.
So that's kind of cool. And then the last tournament of the year is in Titusville. Artie and Arthur got 2nd. Terry Lacoste, there you see him in 5th.
Fished with the Sun TD.
No, he was fishing with what's this? Mark Hatton. Never heard of Mark.
Huh.
And then here is the 2000 championships. 2-day event.
3-day.
Well, 2 days to qualify for the 3rd day.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And here's somebody
this is a good one here.
4th place, Mike Phillips and Chip Davis, right behind the Watts brothers. Blaine Green and Captain Tony Bozzella, TBS Jigs, in 2nd. George Wadsworth and Mark Sepe. Now, Mark
killed it.
He was one of the the ones to beat. So you guys slid in 4th. So top 5.
Who was in 5th?
5th was C.A. Richardson.
C.A. Richardson, 5th place. See, and so we went in the final day. They zeroed the weights.
Yep, zeroed the weights, and you didn't just win. You had 14.27, and the Watts brothers had 11.8. So that's kind of an ass kicking. Don't want to blow up his head over there. But,
hey, I didn't catch the fish. Can I show a picture real quick? What did I do with those papers? Hand me that paper. I'll show you Mike Phillips on that hook set. I'm sorry. And so this is. I was telling Bob in that championship while we were fishing in Mill Cove, a guy came out to us and he was in a paddle boat, and he says, "What are you guys doing?" Because we had a cameraman in the boat. That's when everybody had a cameraman. And I said, "We're fishing a tournament." and Mike was just whacking them, dude. So we're sitting on Fort Caroline in front of Scab Island, where all the oysters are. The boat, this 191 came and scratching the hull, and Mike is using a spitting image, and I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you zoom in on that for me? Okay. Anyhow, that's Mike Phillips with a massive hook set, dude. Just a roundhouse. Anyhow, that was kudos to Mike. I was a great net guy, but it's a team effort. We won $27,000 boat that my brother-in-law Donnie Effler runs now, and he has that boat. It's on the front.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
So so we did win. Cheers. But I never went on the road. But we'll move on to 2001.
So the other thing in 2000 that they did that went away afterwards, a couple of years later, but they had an open division, so that was going to be more of the weekend warrior. I think they let live bait lures come in, so they traveled on that, and so had one in Jacksonville. There's Raymond in second, Captain Fred Morrow in third, Botco in fourth, old T-shirt Bob in fifth.
All right,
13.98. That's pretty good.
That's solid. What won it?
15.78. Mark Madsen.
Wow.
There's Scott
Mark
Jones. You know Scott Jones?
Oh yeah,
Scott Jones.
Scott Jones.
There's another.
Nathan's in there too.
I don't see Nathan yet, but I'm sure he's in there somewhere. Then we went to Titusville
for the Open.
Yep. No locals did good in Titusville. No Jacksonville locals. Homosassa. Me and old Wingo went to Homosassa and pulled a top 10 in 9th place. Beat Jim Romika, who came in 10th. So that's
hey, that's
good.
That's how many boats? Does it say how many boats were in it?
No, but they had good turnouts.
They had like 80. They consistently got about 80 boats. Mm-hmm.
And then the last one in Tampa. I don't see any locals going down there. So that was our first time on the road. Me and Wingo and cashed a check. So
and you got Homosassa is dangerous, man.
Yeah, Homosassa.
You'll rip your lower unit off over there, man.
Yeah. So
that's a pretty good book, then, huh, Bob? I did a good job of keeping it. Of course, I'm on the cover. You didn't show everybody the cover.
Yeah. Well, here's the team of the year.
That's my guy. He was a pro tennis player.
Yeah, Warren Girl and Jules Ross.
Yep.
But I don't remember who. There's Cliff Vaughn in second. And Cliff
wasn't he from Vaughn? Was it from Jacksonville? Cliff Vaughn?
Well, his family owns Avid Angler.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
So Cliff's going to be important because Cliff was one of the founders of the Florida Lure Anglers. He and I were two of the originators, and we were the ones that were out on the tour.
Gotcha.
So we were the ones that were kind of pushing the tournament stuff. The fourth place, the Watts brothers, Roger Bump came in fifth, team of the year. So TD and Terry came in sixth. John Botco and Lonnie Pitts came in ninth. So that's 1, 2, 3 of the top 10 from Jacksonville.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, very solid.
And that's after everybody traveled too. So you had to get points when you traveled. So
yeah.
We had a few teams that went on. Mike and I went on the road, and we were talking about that tournament. I guess it was in 2000. This must have been 2002 or 2001.
Well, 2001 is when we started traveling.
Okay, but the first one in Tampa was gnarly.
Well, no, that's 2002.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me tell you, we went to Tampa. Mike and I drove to Tampa with a 191 Cayman, and we put that, and it was blowing 20, which is northeast here, means it's offshore down there, right, Bob?
Yeah.
So onshore here is offshore there. It was blowing north out of the northeast down there in Tampa, and it blew all the water, and we left at the Gandy Bridge. Remember that? That marina right there at the Gandy Marina?
That's probably the most scared I've ever been in a boat.
Dude, there was people, they were going down. I remember Larry Minyard said they went as far south as the Skyway Bridge.
Yeah.
Because there was like an island out there or something. Mike and I we had a sandbar over there by the power plant.
Yeah.
In Tampa Bay, and we beached that thing so bad we pushed for 3/4 of a mile, and my legs cramped up so bad. I didn't think there was no water in Tampa Bay.
Right,
it was completely dry.
Blown out. Yeah,
blown out like a hurricane was coming.
Yeah.
And we should have never fished that tournament.
Nope.
And we made it back. We didn't weigh in, and we put our shit on the rack, and we drove home. And I was like, that was gnarly.
I think if you even caught a fish that day, you got paid.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, I remember there was people. Artie Price broke his polling platform. He had to tie it off coming in. People were. I mean, it was just, and Grady. That was still in the, learning. Would you send them out today? Probably not. But they sent those guys in that Redfish Cup in 30 to 40 just this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That was from. Did you see? Since he was like holding his place like this, and he was like he was flying. Anyhow, but that was the first one. It was Tampa, right? Where'd you go the second?
Well, no, that was in 2002. So in 2001, we started out in Titusville, according to this magazine.
Okay.
Artie and Arthur Price won. Watts Brothers in third. Lonnie and Russell Theron.
Russell was he was a baller, man, out of Fernandina.
Oh, dude, yeah. Then
you know what most people were throwing to? The Exude jerkbait. Golden Brim.
Yep.
With
My first sponsor.
Yeah. Do you remember the little hook, Bob? It had like a little pin and it had a little weight because they had weight. Like, how are you guys throwing this bait so far? And they all were down in Titusville. They had that. They used the Exude and the Berkeley jerk shads. And they were the first ones to have a hook that had a little weight on it, but it had like a pin weight.
Yep.
And it had a little screw on it. And I was like, where are you guys? How are you throwing in this grass and not getting hung up?
Well, this is something you'll, relate to, is that we're in Jacksonville and we all were Top Dog addicts when the Top Dog came out. And you go down to Titusville and there's so much grass you can't run a top water. And that's where we learned.
Completely out of our element.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, we learned to fish jerk baits.
Jerk baits. And what was the hot baits out there, Bob? You had the jerk shad, weedless 5-inch jerk shad. Top water was good. People weren't really on a crank yet. There wasn't much of a crank.
Yeah.
A gold spoon was like
gold spoons.
Yeah,
quarter-ounce jigs.
Quarter-ounce jig head, and mostly, but and I was never really good with the spoon, but it's a hell of a hit. They'll yank it right out of your hand, man.
Well, here's a good one: is Amelia Island, second stop.
That we should have won that son of a gun.
I don't see your name up here.
I know, because Mike and I didn't bring him fishing. That's when I fell off the boat with the camera in my no, maybe no. Was that the one Bill Pittman won?
Billy Pittman in first place. Yeah.
And he with Jimmy Stubbs.
Watts brothers in second, TD and Terry in third. I mean,
we had
John Henninger back getting in the money. Brad and Scott. Brad Seyfried. Now you know Brad.
Brad's
these are all big ballers.
Dude,
a lot of guys that are around getting into the game. They don't know these names. They need to know them.
I know. Well, this is definitely history in the making. I mean, this is talking about the people that paved the way to where we are today.
Right. There you go. Scott O'Brien, 10th place. Scotty O's on my mount.
He was just now getting started. He was kind of late to the game, but Scott made a run, dude. I mean, he's still making runs.
Still making a run.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, Scott O'Brien, number one. Hey, dude, that guy. I've never fished with him, but I heard he's very OCD. Like, you're making too much noise.
Well,
he's
got a method to his madness, but
it works.
It's like you put J.D. Nobles and Scott O'Brien on my Mount Rushmore, and I don't know who the other two are, but those boys have
they won
a lot of money.
A lot of money. And they went on the road, and they went traveling. J.D.'s still a badass. He's over there. He's over in Horseshoe Key or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in Horseshoe Beach.
Yeah, Horseshoe Beach.
So third stop, Port Charlotte. That's an interesting fishery.
A lot of weedless jerk shad. That's when I learned about potholes in Titusville. I kept saying, where are the fish? They're like, they're in the potholes. And I remember Mike Phillips and I one time went all the way down. We were north of the Cape Canaveral launch. Remember in the lagoon, you could go to the south end of the lagoon. And we went all the way to the east bank, and we're like, let's just throw top water, dude. We couldn't get on any fish. And man, every time we went, we were just getting 5-pound trout, 6-pound trout. We weren't getting any redfish. We were just getting big trout. And I'm like, screw red fishing, dude. Let's trout fish. But then we were on the road fishing, and we probably shot a zero. But Chaz and Mike Phillips went down there later on. I don't get ahead of myself. But Mike got into it with Chaz, and they had a really good run down there. But they went in the Banana River.
Yeah. But Port Charlotte, that's a different fishery. So no Jacksonville people did good in Port Charlotte. There was nobody in the top 10. So that's a bummer for us.
Yeah.
Then we come back to Jacksonville. Look at George Adalvich and Larry Finch.
I think that was a triple challenge,
Scott
wasn't it?
Ludden and
or was that
Mike Shanahan?
That was a redfish. That was an open. Was that an open?
It must be an open.
Yeah, because I don't think George Altovich and Larry Finch didn't fish the lures.
So that's a bait tournament.
Did you write in that magazine yet, Bob? Were you writing anything?
I don't think I was in this one. Look at this. Top 20 in earnings after 10 pro events. Mike and Chip, $27,000.
I'm cheesing.
Yeah.
That was about it.
You were the
then
top.
I fell off.
Yeah, top of the.
Hey, that was a big win, man. I told you the reason why I have my flounder pounder the way it is because I told you we won the biggest day of my life. There was nobody really there to cheer us on. So anyhow, that was a nice walk down memory lane, Bob. I appreciate that. That was sweet.
That's if we had another magazine here, and maybe
how many years did that go on with Grady? I can't remember. Before it became...
Well, there's number 1, number 2. Here's number 4. So we're missing magazine 3. Let's see if we can find anything in here that's worth looking at.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still people. I mean, I think I was... What year was that? 2003?
2002.
Yeah. I was still fishing it. Tyler wasn't born. Tyler was born in 2005. I haven't even built my house in Jack's Beach yet. So I was still fishing on the tour, but I wasn't... I didn't follow it and travel as much. I was starting to think about other things. You know what I mean, Bob? I got married in 2000. but I was always following it, and it doesn't matter. It's even if you're a fisherman to this day and you're not fishing tournaments, you're always going to follow who's winning the tournaments, like on social media. It's just nature of the beast, right, Bob?
Yeah.
It's no different when you're watching guys surf. I mean, even though you don't get to get out there and rip like you used to, you still get to watch. You always like to see people surfing. And that's why I really enjoyed that redfish thing this weekend. That was fun watching the guys rip them.
Well, this is 2002 magazines. It's got some good stuff in it. Now, 2001 is, the year that...
Is that the one we're missing?
You guys won, and then I went and won in Louisiana. So 2001 was good to me, and I fished with a lot of different people.
Is that when you went with your buddy, or then you went on the spinnerbait?
With Danny Hoy.
See, that was when Mike debuted he had the contract
Terminator.
with Terminator for the inline spinnerbait. He got paid a lot of royalties for a while there for that. I wish I had one right now.
So here's our team of the year at the end of 2001 is the Watts brothers in first, Artie Price in second, Larry Minyard in third. He's a local.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yep. Looking down here, Howie Blistein and Jeff Dry coming in 11th. Bob Morris in 12th.
Good job, Bob.
Yeah.
Who are you fishing, Jamie?
Yep.
Oh.
Well, I had a variety of partners that year, but Jamie was listed.
Jamie
as
seems
my
like
guy.
every time I see when you guys do good, you're always like, didn't you and Jamie win that jumping ahead with the one just recently, a couple of years ago, you and Jamie? Or you and
No,
Suki?
that was a Suki. Yeah,
Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
So Romika in 18th. There's C.A. Richardson in 22nd. Wayne Sanderson, R.I.P.
I got that picture of Wayne.
29th. So we had done pretty good, out of the team of the year Jacksonville people had.
You got to the Governor's Cup yet?
We talked about the Governor's Cup last time. I don't have a...
Can I show that picture?
You can show that picture.
Yeah. So I don't remember what year the Governor's Cup was. Let me see if I can see something on the back here. So the Governor's Cup was they were going around, they were giving away a backcountry.
It was before 2000 because it was before the IFA started.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
99 or 98 it must have been.
This is a classic picture, guys. Okay, the first person to my left with his freaking glasses, I don't know if you looked at this hard enough, Bob, is Jim Ramika. Over Grady's shoulder.
Yep. You have to hold that up to the...
Oh, yeah. Well, so Jim Ramika, and then you got Grady, the legend, Warren, and then me, and then to my left is Roger Bump. I don't know if you guys can see that. How you look? Look good? See that one? Ramika, meat runner, there's Grady right there, the freaking man. And then I'm signing my cheesy check. I think we got 4th place, and I was fishing Roger Bump. That was pretty cool.
So here's an interesting in Bob's Bible.
Don't lose that Bible, Bob. That thing, that's pretty cool, man. That's cool that you did that.
Here's the Mitzi Skiffs
I remember
Redfish
Mitzi's.
Tour. That's 2002.
When did this
Greg Suki and Jeff Dry got a 2nd place. Holloman 4th. Scott Ludden, Mike Shanahan in 7th. Team of the year, Tony Bozzella and John Eggers.
Yeah. Oh, that's when they teamed up. Yeah. They were freaking unstoppable. That was Reds
Mike
too, right?
Garbo
That was 2
and
Reds.
Danny Brown, yeah. George Hollamans were in 5th. So that was a live bait and artificial deal
combo. Didn't they give away his Mitzi there for a little bit? Like every tournament they were giving away a Mitzi.
There's Chaz Adams winning his Redfish Tour IFA. That was in 2002.
Can I show this picture real quick, Bob?
You can show anything.
I know. I'm trying. So anyhow, on the last episode, we were talking about the IFA, not the IFA, but the inshore. The one where Scott did.
Yeah, the IFT.
IFT, right?
Inshore Fishing Tour. Yeah.
So I've got a picture here that I think a lot of people will be interested in seeing this. So when we talked about the very first tournament in the IFT, which was it was a slam format, and then Scott based it like he was tallying points for Angler of the Year. And it was in 1999, and the very first tournament was just a banger of a tournament. I mean, when I say a banger, I'm talking about it was going out in the springtime. The freaking weather was right. The bait was right. Everything, all the conditions felt right. And that was the year that Roger and I got 17. Jeff Dry and them got like a little bit under us. Mike Phillips got 3rd, and then Bob got 4th. But this is a picture. This is a classic. I want you to zoom in on that if you can, Andrew. That's Jeff Dry, Brian Dufek. I got my arms over between Brian and Jeff, and you see Jeff Dry he was so pissed off that he lost that tournament because they grandstanded. Remember, Bob? Because Jeff Dry was known for grandstanding, which is, I mean, it takes a lot to be able to grandstand, but old Dufek, look how young we are, man. God, I'd love to go back to them days. Anyhow, that was an old picture from back in the one we talked about on part 1. But so where are we at now? We're going in 2003 and 4 still?
Yeah, we're here in 2003. Now we'll talk about a little bit of the lure anglers, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, dude, come on, man.
So 03 is when we started, like, went back and was talking about Cliff Vaughn. We've got
Fred Gray.
plenty, here's Cliff Vaughn winning the IFA 2002 in St. Augustine. Greg Suki coming in second. Artie Price in third. TD and Terry in fourth. Eric Menino, you know about him? He's in fifth. Jeff Dry in seventh. There's old Bob in 10th. Bob and Jamie. So, the cool thing back then is that you could fish the IFA Redfish Tour and you didn't have to win to cover expenses. Right. So, Jamie and I went in 2002, we went pretty hard and did them all.
Yeah.
And that was, looking back on my life, I don't want to act like Grady's my dad or something, but the opportunities that he presented to me personally, I mean, I would have never, ever gone out to Louisiana to fish.
Right.
You went out there and won a boat. Go back the next year and we were going to take it seriously. We were running the 191 Ranger that we won in Louisiana, and we did them all. We went everywhere: Titusville, Sarasota, the Keys.
Do you remember what the entry was on that? Weren't it like $750?
No, I think they were cheaper.
They were cheaper than that.
But I remember, his philosophy was every fifth boat created another paycheck.
Right.
So if there were 100 boats, there were going to be 20 checks.
Yeah.
Now you may only win 75 or $100, but to me, it's like, I like to get paid.
You got to get paid.
Come home and
hey, you want consistency too. Remember we talked about, to win a tournament, everything, all the stars have to align.
Right.
Nobody just, it's such a great, that's why I think it's such a great feeling when you do win, because it all has to come together. But to do a top 10 and do it consistently, it means that you're good. Being consistent shows, one hit wonders is come and go, but to be consistent is where it's at.
But I wish I had all the results to remember, but 2002 was magical because it was, that was the year when Maverick sponsored 4 teams. So we show up to Titusville for the first tournament, and every one of those guys had a 21 master angler and a 17 tunnel hull HPX. And it's like the heavy hitters. It's was like that the Watts brothers. It's like the Houston brothers.
Rick Murphy was in on it. The Ronnie and
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who the fourth. No, the fourth was Rick was fishing with.
Jeff Page.
No, gosh, I'm gonna kill myself. Don't remember. I'll come to it. I'll remember the name in a minute. Scott Guthrie. From Jacksonville.
Oh no, Scott Guthrie.
Heavy hitters, dude. And I can't remember who the fourth.
That's when Salt Life was emerging too, because I remember when Salt Life came out, and then Guthrie and Rick Murphy wore the Salt Life gear.
Yep.
And then after that, Salt Life just took off. But that's kind of like, that's good history right there, Bob.
Yeah.
Scott. He won a lot of big tournaments.
So they came in, and so I think the word around the campfire was they had been told by Maverick, okay, you guys are going to go out. I want everybody pre-fishing, come back sharing notes. And no, the fourth team was Tom Rowland from the Keys, and I can't remember his partner.
That's right.
They had a TV show.
Because I remember Mike went to the Keys with his father-in-law, and they ran all the way from where they launched. They had to come all the way back to Flamingo.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, we had to come all the way back to Flamingo.
We were in that 191 Ranger, which was not a boat for the Keys, you know. And I remember we were like, we can't run a lot of fuel, and we were going over there with like a half a tank coming. I'd never been so scared we were going to run out of gas. And you're going to the thing called the crocodile hangover. And
Mike said the mosquitoes were like that big, dude. He said the mosquitoes, because I remember he hit the ground. He goes, because Mike continued to travel, I backed away. Because I started, and Mike's like, I'm going to go, because Mike was sponsored by Ranger.
Yeah,
he had that Ranger, and he had that Terminator sponsorship, and he had to go. But Mike is a baller, man. Mike went down. I think he placed in that one. And he always had his father-in-law, Jeff, which, we all had younger partners and all that. And him and Mike, Jeff and Mike were, Mike would always like, and Jeff wasn't a handicap. Jeff was a great fisherman. But once again, it was like, Mike still kicked ass, and, he went down the Keys. But he told me that the mosquitoes that he got down there were like gigantic.
Yeah, I think Danny Hoy went down to the Keys with me to the first one we went to, and he got snagged in a mangrove. And we went to try to get the lure out, and he had on a white Columbia shirt.
Right.
And next thing I know, look over, and his shirt was black. The mosquitoes had come out. And he was very,
allergic.
Well, he was scared because he's a world traveler. He's like, I don't want to catch malaria or something.
Right.
He's freaking out. And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was, just learning, down there in that turtle grass and
I remember that at School of the Reds down there, they were like you said, it was all great, and it was all gold spoons. I mean, Mike was like, you just throw a gold spoon, and that's what you had to throw because it was so weeds. But God, I mean, what a hit when that gold spoon hits, man.
But you had to run over to Flamingo and fish.
Yeah, he said they had to run all the way, and Mike was running by then. I think he was running I don't think he was running the big Ranger anymore. He might have been running. I think they might have came out with the Ghost. They didn't come out with the Ghost yet.
He was running that 191.
He was running with the 191. That's a freaking 2,000-pound boat, dude.
Yeah.
That bitch, it'll eat the chop up, but God knows you get that bitch stuck.
Yeah,
you're pushing.
Yeah,
and you're sinking.
Yeah, it was bad, but that was cool, because going there and going to Sarasota and we cashed a check. I'd say about every third or fourth tournament. And we had won the tournament in Louisiana, so I'm probably still fishing on that money.
Yeah,
because I've never won a lot of money, but I've won enough to cover my.
Well, that boat was worth it
to pay for my fix.
I mean, that 191 came in at the time was worth $50,000, wasn't it? It had 200 Optimax on it. It's probably 38,000-40,000. It was a nice boat. I mean, I ran a couple of them up here. But yeah, and then everybody was fighting for sponsors. Everybody now. That's so funny when you see it now, Bob. You got to laugh at me on this one. I'm on the pro staff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bitch, you ain't getting paid. Right. I don't care. When they tell you you're on the pro staff, man, you're getting a box of lures. And I'm talking about the guys who are actually getting paid. Yeah. And Ranger paid all our entries one year. So we had the monkey on our back. We had to go.
Well, the funny thing is you look back at it, and that's one thing Grady did. Oh, this is going to be the next BASS.
Right.
But I would say, and somebody may contradict me, but the only people I know that ever got paid strictly for tournament fishing were the Watts brothers.
Yeah, the Watts brothers.
There were other guys that
definitely the Watts brothers
maybe had a TV show and supplemented it, doing good at tournaments. So they were guides and they did tournaments. Like Rick Murphy and CA and people like that. But the Watts brothers were getting written checks,
and the majority of us were getting product.
Yeah, but they were making enough money between winnings and their sponsors that I think they were.
Do you remember how ESPN did such a great job with all the coverage when they did the tour, like the ones in when ESPN was following the Redfish Cup, they did a great job. This whole thing where they do the BAS now, Bob, when it goes live for 3 days, the guys are live scoping, it's just boring. But ESPN did a great job with the Redfish Cup. And I remember TD and Terry won that one up there when they were running that Triton bass boat.
Yeah, that was out at Coquetry.
Coquetry, right? And they went, and he was walking people down. Terry, we love you, TD. I mean Terry Lacoste. I'll have to listen. But I remember, they had the ESPN Cup, and they would show those. I never went to Louisiana, and they would show the Watts brothers going through this just muck, dude. I mean, how do you see the Reds in that shit?
Well, I went out there with my stepbrother Bogey Singleton. Now, me and Bogey rolled out there to Coquetry, because it was hard. The hardest thing about traveling on the Redfish tour is who can you get that you can.
Who's Intel?
Well, not that. It's like who can
to go with you.
Who can you deal with, and who's got the money and the time to go do it. Right. And we went out there and we got on a good bite, but they won. But that was where the IFA got hijacked by ESPN, and the Redfish Cup was starting. I remember Grady Warren was so excited. He's like, "Man, this is our opportunity. They're going to come in and partner with us, and we're going to take this thing to the next level." And they came and shot the show. It was a 2-day tournament, which was weird, and like TD and Terry won, and all you saw of Grady was his hand with the gold bracelet and the microphone.
They cut him out.
Completely cut him out. And it's kind of sad, and he was bummed, and it's like, and then they stole his idea. Yeah. And then right after that, here comes the FLW, and
that's when Henninger and them did well in.
Yeah, and my theory is you had about 100 to 150 core teams that would do this game. That wasn't enough to support 3 tours.
Right. Well, they started killing each other by having too many.
Yeah, and then the price of gas went high, and it was just like, that's when me and Jamie got out of it. We're like, I'm not going to go and commit the time needed. We couldn't. He's growing. He's an airline pilot, and that's all seniority based, so he's got a schedule. He can't dictate the schedule, and I'm like, I got a business that's growing. I got a child and a wife,
and you can't just show up the day of the tournament. You got to get some pre-fishing in, man.
We could do that in 2001 and 2002. Right, we did,
but not later and later. These guys are going out there for a week. Remember, I remember I remember Nathan Stewart when Nathan was running. He was running not the Lake and Bay yet, but he was running that Redfish or whatever, and he was down in Punta Gorda, and Jeff Dry leached him. and got all the information, because that was when Mike and I went down there, and Jim Mika was in a hotel with Larry Minyard. It was me, Mike Phillips, and I remember little young Nathan Stewart. He was still a fucking, he was a baller back then as far as fishing.
Oh yeah.
And he was always a young one, but then he was running that R91. Remember that one that he was fishing? But he was down, and he got on the school of reds, and Dry came in there and fucking snatched some reds away from him. I like to get Nathan in here.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Because he was like, you remember when he was
Nathan,
a young guy.
Nathan now he's like dominating the offshore, but he was always inshore, offshore. But he was a badass dude. I'd like to get. Well, for those who don't know, this has been a kind of, it's a surprise. We got Eddie Cadler coming on next week. Yeah, Eddie's going to come in. He's chosen to sit in with us, and that's going to be a really, really good show. And I think if we got Nathan Stewart in here with the three of us, the stories that we could tell, dude, I'll work on that. I'll give Nathan I'll give him a call. Yeah, it's just a matter of finding that guy's got any time, man. He's like restaurant extraordinaire, Freeman traveling. I mean, but I guarantee you, you know what, Bob? I know Nathan well enough to say I think Nathan would come in and sit with us, because if you can't enjoy taking this walk down memory lane, and you're not. I mean, it's when I started this 904 Unfiltered. And I never envisioned having Bob Moore sitting here with me, and guys can comment, because I do feel like you are my co-host, Bob, especially with, there might be a time you're like, Chip, I can't make it tonight, and I might have some other crazy ass shit because we are 904 Unfiltered, but I don't think I could really do any kind of fishing stuff without having you sit next to me. And I started this, I was supposed to have two co-hosts, but it got less mic time, because I'm not going to let people just take mic time if they can't really talk. And number two, with you, it's just I can sit here and ping all the memories, and I think that we have so many people in Jacksonville that we could bring in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we could walk, and we could make them feel good too, because anytime you talk about memories, like Mike Phillips texted me and goes, "Dude, great job on the podcast, man." Everybody likes to hear their name, and everybody wants to walk down memory lane. Where none of us are getting any younger,
right?
And especially as we've gotten older, I've cherished, like you and I getting on the boat and getting the third place was huge for me, because it let me know, hey man,
you still got it.
Exactly, but I don't fish the tournaments anymore, and I get I just don't have the time. Versus I think I can still do it, but I mean the guys nowadays are really, really good, and we'll touch on that on our next show.
Yeah,
we'll talk about what's going on with the president and all that. But
there's a lot of I don't disparage the young guys, and I'm impressed by a lot of them, but I feel like, like we said when we started talking about this idea, is that if these stories will die with us, if we don't get them out here somehow,
right? And now we have a platform to get it out, and that's why I'm saying I want to get Eddie Cadler in that seat. I want to get Mike Phillips in that seat. I want to get Raymond McCauley in there. I want to get Nathan Stewart. I'd love to get Roger Bump in here, dude. I mean, we'd have to get security guards here. Maybe
that may be the one I sit out on.
Well, but the amount of people that are still alive with us, that are still here with us. Hell, I'd love to get Herb Payne in here.
Yeah,
I'd like to get Mr. Payne in here, man. Get Herb in here. He's a baller, dude. I mean, and anybody wants to write down in the comments who you'd like to see us get on the show.
Yeah.
I'm hoping everybody's really enjoyed it. I mean, it's getting to be. I mean, I think we got about another 10 minutes. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah,
you got anywhere to go?
No.
Yeah. How about you, Andrew? How you looking? My producer gives me thumbs up. You guys want it? We go a little longer. I mean, we try to keep them at an hour just because we don't want to bore people, but sometimes an hour is not enough to get what we have. And, we have a lot to talk about, Bob. And, of course, you got me. I'll get off the script every once in a while. But so we'll keep it going.
But so what I was going to touch on now is that, if we want to go back into the history is the Florida lure anglers, which is near and dear to my heart. We talked last week about, Fred Gray and Carl Hardy sort of putting it together.
Carl Hardy, man, that's my man.
And what we had is there was the ISA, which is the Inshore Saltwater Anglers, which was a club that was very popular in Jacksonville.
Vic Tyson was a big part of that.
Yeah, and they were a great club, but it was a live bait club, a lot of different formats. You got whiting tournament, you got croaker, black drum, redfish, trout, and with the IFA coming out and the more professional, tour. We'd had the triple challenges, the idea was let's do something that's all lures only, all artificials, because that's what the IFA Redfish Tour was at the time. We'd gone all artificial.
Well, I think it was starting to be, the guys were getting more and more away from bait and just like, we just want to do artificial only.
Yeah.
And so when it was Fred Gray, and I remember when everybody was coming together with this, and I just talked to Ken Weinstein the other day, and they were doing the meetings at Dick's Wings, which I bought the Dick's Wings from Ken Weinstein. Yeah.
I was one of the first sponsors. You'll see
and he used to remember. We used to bring all the wings to the weigh-ins and all that. Do you remember the one, Bob, that we did out of Beach Boulevard? It was cold as hell,
Yeah.
Chris Holloman won it.
Yeah.
And me and Ken fished it, and and he had an old Lappy 96 redfish. Had a saltwater 130 saltwater series on it. I love that boat. It's one of my favorite boats. And it was so cold, dude. I mean, I remember it was freezing cold that day. And I remember Chris Holman said he caught him off the swimming image.
Yeah. That day, I remember sitting in that parking lot at Beach Boulevard, and it was so cold that I had a barely legal trout, and the trout shrank in the live well and didn't make it.
That'd be another good guy to get in here, Chris Holman.
Yeah.
Being a Marine Patrol officer and you talking about a guy with some history.
Oh, I'd love to have him.
I mean, like you said, guys, if you guys comment in there who you might like to see us bring in as a guest, because, I mean, I'm open to anybody, and we have a platform now, Bob. Isn't that cool?
Well, here you go. The very first tournament, Chuck Dykes, who owned First Coast Trailers,
yeah,
he won. Top 5 was rounded out by J.D. Nobles and Randy Hartley. You ever heard of those guys?
Oh, yeah.
Chip Davis and Dick Swings owner Ken Weinstein in 3rd. Elmer Hartley in 4th. And here's Greg and Daryl King.
Yeah. And that's another guy, Greg King.
He reached out. He wants to come.
Okay. And so did Jeremy Schiller.
Yeah, Jeremy, he wants to come.
Jeremy wants to. I mean,
both of those guys.
We get Scott Jones in here, man. You mind getting Scott in here?
Yeah.
That'd be another one. Brad Seyfried.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many. I mean, number one, I want to give a big shout out to Andrew, our producer.
Right.
I'm telling you guys right now, you cannot do this. And I know we harped on it before, but since we're going to go a little bit longer and Andrew's good with it, right, Andrew? I got to give a big shout out to my man right here, Andrew. I mean, he's just it's such a breath of air. I mean, just to have him here to be able to do this, because as we're sitting here, Bob, what we're doing, it felt like we're in the studio. We're just getting ready. He's like, we got 30 seconds, guys. I mean, that's like unheard of. Anyhow, I'll get off that soapbox. Anyhow, hey, love you, Andrew.
Yeah. So here we got a slam, second term of the year. Scott O'Brien, Wade Hastings win.
Ooh, deadly. Wade Hastings. Here's another one I want to get in here.
JD and Randy, second. Here's me and Frank Gregg coming in with a 4th, it looks like. So the cool thing about the club back then, it was an individual. So if me and you fished and we got first, we would each get 50 points.
Okay.
So, but there was a lot of intermingling, As a matter of fact, I fished with Fred Gray. We had a draw, so you would draw and you'd have to fish with another club member. We would both get the same amount.
Gotcha.
So that first time I fished with Fred Gray, it was the fastest I've ever been in a boat. He had like a Triton bass boat, and I was scared. It was pinning me to the seat. And we were up in Fernandina, and we were going to run back to Jacksonville, and that thing's running like 80, and the lower unit dropped. And I'm like, well, hey. I know there's some reds on that bank over there. So we trolling motor over and started catching reds, and it was like a redfish trout format. And he's like, I got Ceto. I'm like, well, let's Ceto back, and maybe we can get on trout back in downtown Fernandina. So we were working all that heavy structure down there by the railroad
paper
tracks.
Plant.
And, I learned something from everybody I fish with. And one thing I learned from Fred Gray is he's like, we'd catch trout, and we were on a bite, and then all of a sudden it would just go dead, and we couldn't move. He's like, well, when this happens to me, I just like to change lures. And sure enough, he changed lures, and bam, they start biting again. And we did that like 6 or 7 times in downtown.
And you took the trolling motor back to the ramp?
Yeah, we took the trolling motor back to the ramp and weighed in. But that's my cool classic. Fred Gray. In fact,
Fred Gray had that badass backcountry too.
Yeah,
he built that backcountry.
He was a speed demon.
Him and Herb Payne were really good friends. Because remember, what was that? Herb ran that Ranger R191 R91. The intercoastal. Same one.
That was
the same when Nathan was running, and I remember Nathan flew by me on Park Monroe one time doing like 90, and it was only like a foot, and he was going, woo! He goes like this, and I went, that is one crazy sumbitch right there, because it was only like this deep, Bob.
Yeah,
it was shallow water, and Nathan was just blowing it out. He didn't care.
I mean, there's Fred. He won a tournament that year. That good?
Yeah. Let me see. Just show me, Bob.
So these are we used to put out a newsletter. I was the author of the newsletter.
Look, there's Randy Pageant. Rest in peace. And then look at Chris. Look how little Chris was. I'd love to see that picture.
Yeah.
It was you know what? Chris got me 15 weigh-in bags this year for the Flounder Pounder through his sponsor. So big shout out to Chris Holman. We got it through Lindy Fishing. Donated 15 of those weigh bags for me. Pretty cool. And the FLA, you know what I told, and Bob, you being on that? I love the logo. But I was like, it might be time to rebrand it.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, it looks good though. I mean, it's like, how long has the club been on now?
Well, this is 2003 when everything started. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Do the math.
Yeah. So in 03,
22 years?
Yeah. J.D. Nobles
Jesus.
was the winner for Angler of the Year. And then in 2004, I won Angler of the Year. And after 2004, we went to a team format, like a traditional team.
Right.
So you and I would team up. But you would be allowed to bring a guest if you needed an alternate, like you did for me. But the first couple of years, it was kind of, we all fished individual points. But
were you guys moving around to different boat ramps and everything like we do now?
yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, the last term of the year was down at Bing's Landing, close to Marineland.
That was way down there.
And the points race was tight, and Jamie and I ran back up towards, not all the way to St. Augustine. We just
Pine Island.
Not even close to that. We were way south of the Bridge of Lions, but we had I came in with a nice red, and it was like right on the line. And I think JD was right behind me in points, but he was the weighmaster, and he got it in.
Yeah.
He was an honest dude, and that was enough to win it. And it took me a while
How many anglers a year have you won, Bob, in the FLA?
Maybe 2 or 3. It's either
Pretty
2 or 3.
prestigious.
I
man.
had a lot of seconds.
Yeah. Wow.
A lot of runner-ups. I had a runner-up with my son.
When was the most satisfying FLA angler of the year? Which would you say was that one? The one you just beat JD in? You think? Would that be the one? What's the one you remember the most?
The one I won with Chuck D is probably my favorite because this is the most recent.
Right.
But we had really chipped away at it so many years, and he had won it 2 or 3 times with Brian Clark, another great angler. And Brian, life happened, had kids, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't get back on the road, and a lot of guys, you come and go. And Brian elected to chase pro red fishing. They won that championship in Jacksonville. He won a Blazer Bay. He's a real guy. I've shared the boat with him, done Wednesday nighters. He's filled in with me. Another just great angler. So many people here are just such good anglers.
I know,
it's
it gets
sick.
lost in all the social media now.
Well, it has.
The social media is kind of like drowned out because everybody can be a social media star, but
Right.
you cannot you cannot disregard our past in our history and those ballers of anglers that we've had and still have.
Yeah.
Because like we said, we did it without YouTube.
Right.
We did it without Google Earth.
Yeah.
We really didn't. Nobody intel because we're all Hushmouth Creek.
Sure.
We all hit our lures from each other. So we went out there, and our fishery is definitely different. I don't want to be that guy because it was better back then. It was, but it's just the way it is. But when you look inside that book right there, Bob, that's like the Bible, man, of inshore fishing, man. That's pretty strong.
Well, the problem is,
And you know what I'm going to do,
Bob's
Bob?
Bible.
I'm going to donate those 3 inshore fishing ones to the Bible.
Yeah.
I want you to take them and put them in there.
Yeah.
Keep them all that
I'll
because
keep them safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't. I really don't want to tell you that I won't lose them, but I'd rather you have them than me.
Well, what I'd like to see is feedback from people that are listening, because this is
all they got to do is comment.
Yeah, this is my stuff.
Right.
So
Does anybody else have anything out there that we can see?
Yeah, if I had a shitty day, I didn't print it up and put it in my portfolio. You know what I'm saying? If I got a 0, it ain't in here, bro.
So
these are all.
Bob did a 0. You weren't looking for a good blog that week.
No.
And you know what's so funny, Bob? Is like when you lose, you don't feel good until the next tournament.
Right.
Because how many times have you driven home, Bob, and just thought about what you could have done?
Yeah.
Are the times you're like so close to winning and you're looking at your partner, you're driving home from Louisiana, or you're driving home from, like when me and Mike tucked our asses and drove in home from Tampa after going through almost dying on the flat in Tampa Bay. So much goes into it, but nothing feels good in like tournament morning. Yeah. And you brought that back to me a couple weeks ago. I haven't felt that in a long time, man. As far as like I was up with the crowd, I was up 4:30, I'm like getting pumped up, and I go over there and you open, and I used to do it with Mike. You'd see a light come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see a light come on. I say, you're awake. I'm sitting out there in your front yard. Because Mike was living all through Atlantic Beach too.
Right.
I'd see a light come because I was always on top of it. But I was coming to your house. It's just so cool to be able to, like I said, and no disrespect to the new guys. It's no meant to be disrespectful to anybody. If we were given the tools that the guys were getting today, we would be saying this. We would use them.
Yep.
But don't ever forget, where people came from and people that blazed our path to where we are today.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, everybody that's in that book. And like I said, Jeremy Shillo reached out to me. Jeremy won some big ones.
He did.
I'd love to have him on. I want to have people on here that want to come on and talk because I can feed off their energy, because everybody has a different perspective of how we did it.
Right.
People are hearing how we feel and but I think everybody else would feel the same way.
Yeah.
But Jeremy was a baller, dude. I mean, and hell, how about the one when Chaz Adams and what was his partner's name? Craig
Etheridge,
and they won that big. They won like $40,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and Scott O'Brien won $40,000 off Apartment Row when he went to a top water, which he never throws. And I was on that school the week earlier in the week. There was a giant school on Apartment Row. They were all oversized. I mean, it was hard to get a legal one, and I ran into him about Tuesday or Wednesday before the tournament. And then I remember Scott saying, because I think he had to leave out of St. Augustine that when he won.
Yeah.
And he came all the way up there, and he said he hated doing what he did, but he took out a top water.
Yeah.
And he threw top water. So, I mean, I remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
he didn't hate cashing that check.
No, he didn't hate cashing that check. And, I mean, none of us hate cashing checks. Cashing checks are great.
Well, here's the thing I want to interject is that all we had back then was our tournament resume.
Right.
There wasn't like, how many likes do I have,
or
or
how many followers you have.
This is what you went with.
Yeah, you showed up at the tournament and you showed up with like, I won last week. People were like, there he is, there's Bob, man. Watch out for Bob, man. They're on him. And then Jeff Dry always had his face. Where are they at?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what are you asking me where they're at, dude? You know where you fish 5 days a week.
Yeah,
Jeff.
they're in his live well.
They're in his live well, dude. And
ready to crush your heart.
I mean, if anyone ever had a stone face, poker face, nobody had a better face than Jeff Dry. He would look at you and just be like, where they at? I'm like, And then you have Dufek over there going, well, Brian worked at CNH, and they always got the lures.
Yeah.
So,
well, Jeff Dry's another one. There again, he was the guy to beat. But what about he doesn't only come in here and beat us at Redfish, and he's winning SKA titles. He's out running.
He was running boats in Costa Rica.
Boats.
Yeah, he was running. Yeah,
Master Angler. Yeah.
I ran. What's so funny is I ran into Jeff Dry over on Bono's on Phillips Highway, and he was. I mean, but Jeff's in town. He's in town.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into him at B&M Bait and Tackle.
Yeah,
he
showed up.
He just in the shadows, dude. He doesn't say a lot. He's just standing back. He goes. And he goes, you know what he told me? He goes, the wall ain't the wall no more. I said, we all know that.
Yeah.
The wall isn't the wall no more. The wall produced remember the one he caught with Grady?
Oh, yeah.
On a bomber, blue and white bomber. And freaking wind was blowing 30 knots out of the northwest. Remember? And the tide was humping out. And Jeff goes, yeah, you got a bomb. Remember the one Grady hooked up? He thought it was a bluefish?
Yeah.
Because he's getting me in the crab pot, Jeff. He's getting me in the crab pot. It was a big old bluefish. But then Jeff caught him. So, it was good times, man. I mean, it's this has been a really good show. We've been an hour and 10 minutes, Bob. I think what we're going to do is we're going to tell our audience what we're looking for part 3.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to bring Eddie Cavler in. He's already committed. We're going to shoot for next Thursday. You think, Bob? You open next Thursday?
That's not Thanksgiving, is it?
No, that's the week. That's the following week.
We'll take off for
Thanksgiving. But what we want to do is I want everybody that's watching to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, we're not going to keep doing this, because I'm not going to get to do it for 70 subscribers and 1,000 views. You're going to have to level out the field. So give me 1,000 subscribers. But also, we enjoy the hell out of doing it, Bob. I know you enjoy the shit out of it, because I can see it. You got that Hell's Bay out there you fell off of.
I got to drive that down to Volano here in just a couple of minutes.
Well, what we're going to do, so we're definitely going to, and once again, we're going to thank Andrew, my man Andrew out there being our producer is great. And then we will see you guys. We'll, shoot sometime. We'll get together and figure our time between 6 and 7 next Thursday. We'll have Eddie Big Show Cavler. I nicknamed him Big Show.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
It's going to be a good, we can get it. He'll talk.
Maybe.
We'll pull it out of him. And then we're going to, like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. And, I really enjoy having Bob. It's almost like we were like kind of meant to do this, Bob, because you're such, like we were saying, you were getting the feedback. It's like, you got to let me talk. I was so excited last week that I had to just calm down. I think the excitement of being back on the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I think I did a really good job this time, and not, I know I have a bad habit of like walking and.
Well, I'm guilty of it.
No,
too.
Bob, you're very subtle. You're good, but I get so excited because I want to inject everything. But I think that you kind of like yin and the yang, like you kind of like buffer me and keep me, from going too stupid and being crazy. But those episodes are coming. But it won't be about fishing.
Well, we got to really we got a lot more to go through.
We got a lot to go through.
We're a quarter through.
But you know what, Bob? I have as long as we keep my man over here, keep him coming back. I don't have nothing but time in my life. Yeah. I'll sit here and do these every Thursday, excluding holidays, and for the rest of the year and years to come. I enjoy it, man. I mean, like you said, I did radio with Captain Vic Tyson forever.
Right.
I didn't have this sort of platform where I could just not be like 10 seconds for a commercial or going to commercial breaks. I could sit here and and we could get a captivated audience and they could watch our live, which is, thank you again, Andrew, for making us live. And then if you don't get to see it, then it's going to be uploaded to our channel.
Right.
So if you didn't get it, but this will be one that I'll go back and listen to because I know you were dipping and listening to a little bit.
Well, a lot of people, you know, they're not going to tune in live, but I got a lot of feedback, you know, throughout the week.
And then, you know, like I said, I'm hoping that Nathan Stewart will just take the time to listen to us talk about Nathan because I'd really love to get Nathan in here. And like I said, I'd love to get Mike Phillips. Raymond McCauley's already committed.
Yeah.
Eddie Cavler will be here. So we'll start with the OGs, and then we'll start bringing in the newbies like Walt.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Chris, you know, Walt, we'll get Walt in here. You know, we got to get Walt, you know, they're pumping their chest now. They're the man, you know, they're doing good.
They've done
Damn it, we should have had second. And he wasn't supposed to fish it, though. I pushed his buttons.
Yeah, that's your fault.
So anyhow, guys, so subscribe to the channel. We're 904 Unfiltered Jacks, correct, Andrew? 904 Unfiltered Jacks, because there is another 904 Unfiltered, but we want to go ahead and make sure we capture all the subscribes and all that. And then I got my man Bob Morris. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Indeed.
So we're gonna see you next week. And my boy, once again, we couldn't do it without your epic vibes. My boy Jordy, Kenny's sick. I told him not to show up. Kenny, you know what? Kenny from your epic vibes was here last week. He held that camera for an hour.
Everybody's like, homeboy was shaking.
But you know, but he did such a good job. And like I said, and once we get Andrew, we'll start getting the your epic vibes stuff because your epic vibes is the ones that do all my tent work and everything for the tournaments. And then they have the 360 camera, the selfie camera, because we want to get people that are doing any kind of parties and coming up. And once Andrew gets back in the groove of setting things, we'll be able to do slideshows of what we talk about certain sponsors. And if people want to sponsor, man, give us a call. I mean, hey, we got to pay this guy.
Yeah.
You know, my goal is right now, I'm not trying to make money. I want to make sure he's coming back.
Exactly.
And producing my show.
Yeah. Like I say, I think that.
I mean, if we can't do it without a producer. And I mean, and Andrew's so low key. He doesn't even want to be in the picture, but he's getting all the accolades. But I do have the best guy right here with my man, Bob Morris. We're going to go ahead and take this thing off the air. Your epic vibes, Miggy sunglasses, Shimano reels. Don't forget Marilure, Eric Botnick and the boys down there. And Bob, I'll see you next Thursday.
Yes, sir.
904 Unfiltered. I'm gone.